Welcome home. But what about today? We're in the middle of the week. We got a lot to talk about today. All right, we do. Yesterday was kind of an interesting and important day for me because not only was I trying out an indie game the likes of which I likely would have skipped in the past before this year's changes to my content that I've instituted, but also I tried something different during the stream that I want to now reveal to all of you to let you know how it went. But after I finished that stream playing Crizzle Theater of Idols, I made a 10-minute video to give my honest thoughts about the game. And some people seem upset. To be honest, all right, I feel like right now on the internet, there is a bandwagon movement, a cultural mentality that says, hey, favor the indie game, kiss the indie game's butt, play the indie game, criticize, smash, say negative things about the AAA, but if it's indie, you must be nice. No. Sorry, that's not who I am. That's not who I'm ever going to be. As you know, in the over 17 years that I've been a gaming content creator on YouTube, I've always told it like it is. I don't pull punches, I don't sugarcoat, I don't favor anything. I'm honest. And so, if I play a game and I feel that we are in some kind of a situation where the game is not representative or is misrepresenting what it is to try to get sales, if the game doesn't live up to expectations that has laid out for itself, okay, I'm going to be honest about it. All right, and you might say, well, what are you talking about? So yesterday I played Crizzle Theater of Souls, okay? It is an indie game. It's made by a small studio, although the game was funded by Blumhouse, a company that makes high-profile horror movies. This is one of their first actual investments in a video game, okay? Crizzle Theater of Souls presents itself in all of its promotional materials, notably its big launch trailer, as a game that's going to be high action, okay, with tons of weapons, abilities, variety of enemies, and scares, okay? When you play the game, the first hour to hour and a half is actually really good atmosphere building of laying out the story and the environment and the elements of the things that the game is going to be. And then for the next 2 hours, the game is completely identical, doesn't try to do anything different, doesn't give you any new weapons, doesn't give you any abilities, doesn't even give you a single new enemy to fight. It just gives you the same regurgitated crap over and over. The game suffers from what you should be calling terrible pacing. Okay, awful pacing. Whoever the game director was should have known better and say, hey, I understand atmosphere and building up suspense, but who wants to sit around for 3.5 hours with a single handgun shooting the same repetitive enemies over and over with almost no change to the environment, no change to gameplay mechanics? It's the same crap for 3.5 hours. It's boring. Okay? So I relayed that not only in my stream of the game that I was playing, but also in my reaction video after the fact, where I clearly stated I feel the game is a bait and switch after 3.5 hours of gameplay. It says that, like right in the title of the video, so no one would get the impression that I actually played the entirety of this game. I played the first portion, and that's the impression I got, right? So basically, after having played this game, here's how the audience reacted. Very similar to how I reacted, okay? The first hour to hour and a half, we were intrigued. Ooh, it's an interesting setup. It's kind of creepy. The idea that two cults are going at each other is kind of interesting. All right. Then, when it's 2 more hours of the same, we all got bored. It wasn't just me saying that. Everyone watching the stream got literally bored of the game. We were like, this is just not it, you know? Why do you keep playing this? It's so boring. It's the same thing over and over. And now here's the thing. I played 3.5 hours. Maybe if I had played 5 hours or 6 hours, there would have been more to it. I mean, we found the shotgun. We just hadn't been able to unlock it yet. It looks like the game's going to force you to do a lot of gameplay and backtrack to get the shotgun. How many more weapons are there in the game? I don't know. Are there ever any more abilities in the game besides just refilling your bullets with blood? I don't know. But the thing is, in 2026, game developers need to understand one critical thing, because it's very simple. You need to hook the gamer within the first couple of hours to let us know why we want to keep playing your game. You can't have an insanely long, drawn-out intro where you're building and building and building. We got better things to do, right? Our time is valuable, and we don't want to sit around waiting for there to possibly be a payoff when you're asking so much of us when it comes to time investment. Sorry, I want to know what's good about your game before I've invested 10 hours in it. I mean, we've talked about this time and time and time again over the years. Do you remember a game that actually was really good, actually had great world design, interesting story, great gameplay elements, decent graphics, but flopped miserably? The game was called Days Gone, okay? The reason Days Gone flopped was because it was a zombie survival game with drama and survivors and different storylines set in a post-apocalyptic world. It was open world, it was third person, it had cool survival mechanics, combat mechanics, taking on giant mobs of zombies and things you'd never really done in a game before. The problem was, it took over 12 hours of repetitive base destruction gameplay before you got to the good parts. And most people tapped out before they played for 12 hours. Most game reviewers outright stated we stopped playing this game because it's so boring within the first few hours. You need to have good pacing to have a game that's going to be successful in the modern era. Crizzle does not have that. It takes the opposite route, and it very well may have good elements later in the game. It doesn't matter, because, folks, what people need to start understanding, particularly game developers and even TV show writers, is that the most valuable asset in life at this point is not money, it's time. Crizzle is a cheap game. The game is under $20, and a lot of people have given me flack in this video that I made about Crizzle, saying, Phil, you're being way too harsh. This isn't a AAA game that they're charging $70 for, and you're acting like that in this video. It's a game that's under 20 bucks. You should really give it a pass. No, you don't get a pass. It doesn't matter if your game costs $1, $15, $70, or $150. If your game is boring, it's always boring. I'm sorry, but I don't want to pay any money for a game that is boring and isn't a fun experience. Therefore, I have the right to criticize it. Now, the thing is, right now, in the gaming community and online, there is a mentality to say indie games are better because they're cheaper. Indie games are better because they're not AAA with giant bloated budgets, and they're not samey, and they don't copy what everyone else did and put out another game just for profits. Therefore, you should kiss their butt. No, I'm not going to do that. Crizzle is a game that presents itself as an action-packed, Bioshock-esque game when you watch its promotional materials. I didn't make the promotional materials, they did. So if they didn't want that game to look like that, they shouldn't have presented it like that. Seriously, they actually should have just shown a few statue-like enemies and you guys shooting and some dramatic scenes, and that would have been the trailer. Now, that trailer would have looked boring because the game is boring. But it would have been representative of what the game is, and then I wouldn't have called it a bait and switch. But it is a bait and switch when you present the game in a different way that's not representative of what the actual gameplay loop will be. And again, it doesn't matter if the game is cheap or expensive. If it's not fun, I'm going to tell you that. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, Crizzle is just not fun. Maybe if I kept playing, it would have gotten to fun parts, much like Days Gone, where you had to play 12 hours through this grindy intro crap to get to the good parts. But that's not my fault or my problem. It's the game developer's problem, because they have a game that's so boring up front, I bet most people who buy it will play it for 2 hours, say, what is this crap, and never touch it again. Now, you might say that's not a big deal because the game's only $15. Yes, it is, because you've wasted 2 hours of your time. You've already made that purchase. And most people are going to be like, well, it's not a big deal because it's not expensive, but you still shouldn't get ripped off. And if you bought that game thinking it is going to be like the trailer, you got ripped off. Doesn't matter that it was cheap. That's still your money and your time that has been wasted. A lot of people just don't seem to value time. well enough anymore. You have to understand we have one life to live on this planet. The older I get, the more I realize my time is more valuable than ever before because I have less of it than ever before on Earth. Therefore, I don't want to waste my time on crap. And if the game is boring, it's crap. The game is boring, in my opinion. It's crap. I don't think that people should be fooled into thinking anything otherwise, so I made a video explaining that, but somehow I did it wrong. No, I didn't. You're doing it wrong if you're blindly defending the game because it's an indie game that's cheap. There is no reason whatsoever to be defending anything because it's cheap or made by a small studio. It still needs to be good. Crizzle is not. That's my opinion. If you disagree, you have a right to do that. But to criticize my opinion and say it's invalid, I'm being too harsh because I'm treating it like it's a AAA game, is incredibly ignorant. Bottom line. Okay? So listen, it's fine. It is what it is. If people want to disagree, go for it. They already are. And there's nothing I could do about that. If you like Crizzle, good for you. All I know is I was bored of it, and so was the audience. Everyone in the chat was bored as hell. So why on earth am I in the wrong by making a video just resonating that feeling in verbal form for 10 minutes? Anyway, so that's what happened yesterday in regards to Crizzle. All right, and so you can watch the videos. By the way, almost no one has. To give you perspective here, my video about Crizzle, which is 10 minutes long, already has over 1,500 views and climbing in like 15 hours that it's been live. Okay? The actual gameplay of Crizzle, the 3.5 hours, the first part has like 400 views. The other two parts barely have 200, if that. People started watching, said, wow, this is boring, and literally never continued to watch because the game is boring. So, again, the results actually match what I'm saying about the game. I'm not wrong. You're just too lenient on indie games, and you need to stop. Because what'll happen is, now everyone apparently needs to be so nice to indie games that we just ought to say they're all good. No. Absolutely not. In fact, it should be the polar opposite here. Because now there's so many indie games that are clamoring for your attention and dollar. Because now AAA games are floundering and failing. Now indies are getting their shot. You need the voice of reason to cut through all of this crap to tell you what's good and what's not. You don't need everyone telling you every indie game is great. I mean, sure, I could have kissed Crizzle's butt. I should have said, oh, look, the graphics are quite good for a cheap game, right? Can you imagine that this game will look so good on such a small budget and it's an indie game? Yeah. I could have just sat here and just said that or said, ooh, the creepy atmosphere. Yeah. Those are the two good things about Crizzles, the graphics and the atmosphere. But the gameplay is boring. So I'm not going to lie about that to you. I'm sure a lot of people do. They just sit there and they act like they're almost like promoters of this indie, style of game because this is what's the hot thing to do right now. Wow. No. If you want me to cover more games and you want me to cover indie games, you have to expect the same level of transparency and the same level of criticism that I give any other game that I used to play. And just because it's popular to say AAA games suck right now, doesn't mean that I'm going to say every indie game is amazing too. Okay? So there you have it. That's what I have to say about my coverage of Crizzle. You can enjoy the 10-minute video. If you just want to see my summarized thought, you can watch the raw gameplay if you so choose. It seems like no one is so choosing that, okay? Because basically everyone agreed who watched it. It was fucking boring. So no one's even bothering watching the gameplay. Just saying, okay? Okay, now, let's do some shout-outs for contributions, and then I want to get to the second half of this discussion, which is the fact that I conducted an interesting experiment during yesterday's stream. And in reality, I've actually been doing a little bit of experimentation recently, and I want to let you know exactly what it's been, okay? But let's do some shout-outs first off, because there was a couple of contributions here. We have our first tip of the day, a $10 tip from someone who says, this is exactly why I actually support you, because you keep it real. Because you keep it real no matter what you're doing. Exactly. I'm never going to be the guy that's a butt kisser for any reason whatsoever. I have absolutely no reason to ever kiss butt, because I don't actually benefit from doing it. On the flip side, I also don't benefit from just being a toxic jerk to everything either. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't get why people are actually upset with me for being honest. And again, I think what you also have to understand is whenever I put out a video, it's my opinion, right? It literally says that Prizzle is a bait and switch based on my 3.5 hours of playing, and that's what the video is titled, right? So why people would be upset, I don't know, but it is what it is. I'm not going to change, okay? Cool. So thank you for $10. I appreciate that. First super chat of the day is 2L84 Prey, who did a CZK 50 super chat. Okay, hold on. There's a lot of work here. CZK to USD, and it's what, 50? So it's $2.45. Okay, thank you for the first super chat of the day. And they said, this is out of context, but will you show a tour of your house in the future? Much appreciated. No, I will not. Maybe in the future, I would choose to reveal certain parts of my home that I feel are safe to show to the public. Perhaps when I set up my workout room, which I am planning on hopefully doing sometime this year, I could show you my machine that I'm using to do, exercises and stuff like that. Perhaps, maybe not. I'm not promising anything. That's why I don't mention it, because I've learned that separating my work from my personal life has dramatically increased my safety and my enjoyment of life. Because if I share everything, then people use that to hurt me. And I know that I've gone into detail a million times about this, so I'm not going to go into detail about it on today's show. But basically, what's in this room stays in this room and gets broadcast to the internet. What's outside of this room is my personal business to be shared with my wife, my cat, and my immediate family. Like my parents know everything that goes on in my house, but that's about it. No one else needs to know anything that's in this house. You don't need to know about the giant mountain of cocaine that I have in my spare bedroom. Okay? That's none of your business. Okay. But will I ever show parts of it? Perhaps, if I decide to. I now have the means, I can use my camera, I can use my microphone, I can use my selfie stick, and I can film around the house to show you stuff if I wanted to. So maybe I will eventually, but as of now, the answer is no. Princess Luna, thank you for a $5 super chat, which is our biggest one of the day. First of all, let's get that on the leaderboard. Let's see what Princess Luna has to say. Okay? Okay. Okay, so Princess Luna says indie games are like food trucks. There's now so many, only the good ones survive, in my opinion. That's what's happening now, because it didn't used to be like that. Now, there are literally so many games coming out in a given week, right? Just this week. I'm looking for a new game for the rotation. It's like, okay, so Crystal came up, but so did Mugenics. But so did Romeo Must Die. But so did, there's another one too that just dropped. And now supposedly Marathon might have a demo. But then you got this going. I was like, wait, what? There's like 7 options. Like, how do I choose what I'm supposed to be doing on my streams where there's so much going on? When you have so much selection, you need someone to cut through all of that to tell you what they think and if it's your cup of tea or not. You don't need someone to say, oh, Crizzle is an indie darling. It's amazing that on a under $20 price tag they have these graphics. Who cares about the fucking graphics if the game is boring? Right? Who cares? So that's the point I'm making. I'm glad that you're seeing my point, Princess Luna, that we need to be honest about this crap, or else what we're going to end up with is we're going to have a completely anti-AAA mentality and a completely every single indie is great mentality, and you'll never know it's good. It's going to be just as bad as when it was just AAA, where everyone says everything's good, everything kisses everyone's butt, and now you can't determine what game to spend your money and time on. You don't need that. You need honesty, and that's what I'm going to strive to do this year, right here on this channel. Cover more games and be honest about each game and let you know what I think. There might be games that I absolutely love that you actually hate. There might be games that I actually hate that you love, and that's okay. You know who I am, you know my feelings, you know how I have these certain, affinities for certain kinds of things in video games. I think a lot of people know my likes and dislikes at this point. So, honesty is the best policy, okay? Thank you for the support. All right. Oh, I was just gonna Go to the next point, and typical average gamer did a $2 super chat and says, "Did you see anything about Crimson Desert?" Oh yeah, we reacted to the trailer of it a few weeks ago. The game, to me, looks amazing, but also kind of looks too good to be true. And what I mean by that is there's so much in that game that looks great, you have to wonder if it's all true, if it's all fully fleshed out, or, and this is more likely the case, if a lot of it that looks great on paper actually doesn't factor into the gameplay at all. Meaning, there could have the best crafting system ever made. It could have an amazing flight system where you fly around the map on mount, and then none of that has to do with the actual game. It's in there, but you don't have to use it to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, you could just play through the game and beat it without any of that crap. Like, it could be the next Starfield, where on paper, Starfield might look good. Oh, you could craft your own ship. Oh, you could have colonies on planets and mine resources. And you never have to do any of that in the game. It's just there to say that there's content, and the content doesn't mean anything, right? So I guess we'll see when the game comes out next month. I'm excited to try it for sure. It may be a super immersive game with tons to do, and it might be one of the best games in a long time. Or it might stink. We'll find out firsthand together, okay? Okay, so now let's get to the other thing that I want to talk about yesterday's first stream, all right? So yesterday I played Grizzle Theater of Idols. This is a game that it was going to be a kind of, ooh, let's test the waters, let's see if the game's any good. It was yes, a first part of a playthrough if I decided to start playing the game fully, but also it was kind of a first look stream, if that makes sense, where a lot of content creators do this. They essentially test the waters of a game and they call it first look rather than playthrough or I'm actually playing this game. That way, if they decide against continuing, no one says, oh, but you're playing it, now you're dropping it. Like, no, I never was playing it. It was just a first look. Okay? So, what do you get in regards to that? All right. Yesterday, when I was playing Grizzle, I conducted myself a little differently than I normally would. Does anyone actually know up front what it was? I'm just curious if any of you actually figured out what the difference was between the Grizzle stream and a normal stream. Let's see if anyone in chat can get it. I'm very curious. I'm going to give it a minute because wherever the chat's delayed. I'm just curious. Someone got it already. Kimikaze actually just hit it on the head. She said there was no asking for money. You're right. If you go back and you watch the entirety of the time that I was streaming Grizzle on the stream, which was 3.5 hours, okay? You're going to notice that not one time, not once, did I actually ask for a financial contribution whatsoever. Now, I did ask for engagement. I said, hey, the first part of the playthrough is the most important one. If you're on stream, please like the stream to get more engagement for the channel. If you're watching this on demand, please like the video and leave comments. What are you thinking about the game? Do you like it? Do you not? That will help this channel tremendously. I definitely said that, but not a single time did I actually say, hey, open your wallets, send me some super chats, send me some kicks, send me some tips, send me some members, send me some subs. I never said that whatsoever. I never even mentioned the ways that you can contribute. I just acted like you couldn't, okay? Now, the thing is, I've done this before. All right, I've done this before. And the last time that I did it, people gave me shit for it because they said, well, it wasn't fair. Why? Well, basically, I think it was like the day before I did a marathon. And I guess during the said marathon, I had actually done pretty good. It was a good marathon where a lot of people had supported or whatever. Okay? And so they said, you know, that's not a fair experiment to see what would happen because a lot of people had given a lot of support the day before. Therefore, the day after a very successful marathon where everyone basically unloaded with support, you're going to have less support. Now, the first time that I tried this last year, you want to know how much money I made? Because I told Asmongold in our actual interview back in November, I made $30 the entire stream where I didn't ask for anything. I made $30 for over 5 hours of streaming. Okay, not even $10 an hour, right? But everyone says that wasn't valid. Fair enough. Let's try it again, but let me try it on a day when absolutely no one will be expecting it whatsoever, and on a day where it's going to be an interesting strategy because of the game that I was playing. Yesterday when I played Grizzled, this was the very first time ever that I had played this game, and very much we were testing the waters to see if people liked the game and if this is going to be a playthrough that I was going to do in the future. Now, let's be honest. There is a pattern when it comes to the levels of support that I receive on a stream, and the pattern is usually if you really like the game I'm playing, and if I really like the game I'm playing, I'm having a great time that comes through on the stream, and you support it. That's not always the case. For example, Street Fighter 6 right now is getting massive support, and I basically destroyed the game every time I play it, saying how bad it sucks, right? The thing is, there's entertainment value there in seeing me rage and try to persevere against a game that I really don't like that much, right? But for the most part, take a look at games right now such as Hollow Knight, which I absolutely am loving and liking more the more I play it, and RimWorld, which at first I was really having a hard time with, but now that I've learned this stuff, okay? And I know the basic mechanics, and I'm still learning, and I have this great interactive time with you guys. Every time, tons of engagement as people try to help me with the game. I really enjoy myself. Even though it's stressful as hell, it's still good. It's entertaining. It's fun. People like it. They support it, right? So, knowing far well that I was playing a game where I didn't know if I was going to like it. I didn't know if you were going to like it. I thought in my head, man, here's the thing. I could ask for support on this stream, and to be honest with you guys, I know for a fact, 100% proven fact, if I had asked for support on yesterday's Crizzle stream, I would have received more. I may not have gotten a ton, all right? But I absolutely guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, if I had said, come on, let's get some support. I'm covering more indies this year. I'm showing you what's good and what's not. If you like this new effort, you'll like the fact that I'm playing more games, support this channel. If you like all the changes and improvements I've made, you'll like the content, support the channel. And people would have supported. I would have got memberships. I would have got some subs. I would have got some tips. I would have. It probably wouldn't have been an overwhelming amount. No one's going to I don't really like the game Phil's playing, but I'm still going to overwhelmingly open my wallet and support the stream. That wouldn't have happened, okay? But I would have got more. 100%, right? There you go. Now, what did this result in? What was the result of the experiment? And how did I feel it went? And how should I conduct myself moving forward? Let's talk about that. So the result of the experiment was as follows. By the end of the stream, again, me not asking for support, I got about $80 of support. I want to say it was like $82 or something like that. Okay? Is that the worst stream I've ever had? No. In fact, to be honest, I had a worse stream on Sunday night when I did the double indie stream of Sharks and Minnows and Terminator 2D No Fate. The reason for that is very simple. I'd already played those games multiple times. In the case of Terminator 2, we were already beat it multiple times. We were just trying to see the final ending, which actually wasn't even worth the time, actually. And so you're going to get some initial interest in a game like that, but you're not going to get an audience coming back a million times and throwing money at it. You know what I'm saying? So it actually wasn't even the worst stream that I had done recently, okay? But it certainly wasn't great. No one was showering me with support because I didn't ask for it, all right? There is an absolutely, positively direct correlation between how much I ask for support and how much I get. 100%, there is undisputed evidence that if I ask for support, I will get more. And if I don't ask for support, I will get less. All right? So then why didn't I ask for support yesterday? Didn't I want more? Yes, I did. Of course I did. Of course I did. Come on. Let's be honest here. We all want more support. We all could use more support, right? So why didn't I ask for it? Well, there's two reasons. Okay? One reason is because if I was going to play Crizzle and I was actually going to try to gauge audience interest in the game fairly, all right, the very first stream is the stream where you need to see if people are liking what they're seeing. And if you're saying, hey, support the stream, and people shower you with support, that could artificially inflate the level of positivity that the game actually deserves. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, let's say I was halfway through the stream and I was like, oh, guys, come on, we're only at like $50 of support. Let's go, let's get some subs. And someone feeling, all help Phil, they drop 10 subs, right? And so all help Phil, and I drop a $50 tip. Now all of a sudden, I got like $200, right? It's like, oh, we see Crizzle did well. Well, no, in reality, Crizzle's the same game. It's not that good, it's still boring. But people might have showered me with support because I asked for it. So if you do that on the first stream of any game, you're basically artificially inflating its popularity. Does that make sense? I think it does. If you've the premiere stream of any game that I play, whether it's an indie game, whether it's a AAA game, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if I had done that yesterday, I wouldn't have been doing the right thing. And therefore, it would have not made sense because now, let's say the Crizzle stream made $200, right? So now I might be like, oh, I should do it again. But no one likes the game, including me, right? And to be honest, what will end up happening, okay, is very simple. We're going to end up with another truck sim. We're going to end up with another situation where people are showering me with support and we keep playing the game, even though, quite frankly, the game is kind of boring and not that interesting. Okay, and not to say that I didn't like Truck Sim at first, because I did, but after a couple of months of Truck Sim, it got played out. But we played it all year because I kept getting showered with support every stream, right? So the truth is, it's hard to judge how to handle this stuff. It really is. Do I ask for support every stream because then I'll do better as a business and, I'll be able to support my family better and improve the setup better and buy more games? Or do whenever I play a game for the very first time, do I actually make this just judgment that I should not ask for support? That way, if people do support the game, it's genuine because they like it. Or you know what I'm saying? Or they don't support it because they don't like it and they genuinely don't want it to continue, right? Now, admittedly, this is kind of a double-edged sword for me because although it'll be better to try more games to find the hidden gems that we're all going to love and will end up being ongoing playthroughs that get lots of support, the more games that I take chances on means another chance that a game is going to suck and now no one will support it. You see what I'm saying? If I play 5 games this week, and out of those, 4 games we know everyone loves and will support, and 1 is a wild card, versus this week I played 10 games, 6 games are wild cards, and all of them suck, that might be 6 dead streams. So you see the situation I'm in right now, where there's no real way to determine exactly how to go forward because it's new ground for me. Right? I don't know if is it right whenever I play a brand new game, should I just not even mention support and let people genuinely and organically support that stream? I don't know. Right? I'm very curious about what to do about this, right? The funny part about yesterday, undoubtedly, is my detractors were fucking losing their shit. They couldn't stand the fact that I hadn't hit the phantom goal that doesn't exist. And I wasn't asking for support. They were tearing at their clothes. There was fucking 10, 20, 30 sock accounts all typing in chat. You're not hitting the goal. Why aren't you asking for support? They couldn't take it. They lost their fucking minds. Because their little pea walnut-sized fucking brains can't comprehend that I'm smarter than them. And that I have the intelligence to try to conduct experiments and do things like this to try to figure out how to handle stuff moving forward. And it's not all about money. It's not. Okay? In fact, to be honest, it's better off, way better off, that we figure out the right thing to do than just have me sitting here begging for money every stream. Because long-term success is more important than temporary short-term success. Even though I might have a bunch of great streams this week, if I don't know what to do long-term next week myself, I might be out of ideas, might be out of games to play. So let's actually work on this together and figure it out, right? So, 220 also did a 500 kick and said, huge win, or huge Phil W. Keep those detractors guessing. They don't even realize they're puppets in a grand experiment. They always are. That's what I mean. Like, now at this point, I have been in this game for so long. I know exactly how to manipulate these people. And I do it every day. They just don't know it because they're too ignorant. Every single day, they're doing exactly what I expect of them and what I want them to do. So thank you for the super chat. I do think there may be a tip. I'm not sure. Let's see. Someone did a $2 tip and says, the audience isn't a fan of being subject to experiments. If you want something, ask for it. No, that's because you're a troll. I know who you are. I recognize your email address. The trolls don't like being manipulated. They hate it. They were so furious yesterday when I didn't ask for support, and they're outright expecting it. They're like, wait, where's the clip farm? Why is there no clip farm? So instead of there being a clip farm, they had the title of their videos, his utter failure, Crizzle stream crashes when Phil only makes $80. Instead of saying Phil crashed out asking for money, they couldn't do that video anymore because it didn't happen. You see? Thanks for the $2, but I know who you are. I'm not stupid. Here's the other half of the equation of this experiment that I did yesterday. I knew that doing Crizzle as the first stream, and that it may not work, alright, I knew that if I paired it with something that was a fan favorite and a troll favorite, that likely the late stream would be a hit. And that's exactly what I did. I played Street Fighter 6 with Dalzim last night, and we had high attendance, high engagement, and really good support. In fact, the stream did so well, it made up for the fact that the Crizzle stream hadn't done that well, and I hadn't asked for support during it. So you see, this is very similar to what I was saying about Dragon Quest the other day. Dragon Quest just doesn't do that well when it comes to support. Even though I think it's an outstanding game, it's hard for me to find a large audience that agrees. There is a small audience that agrees, but it's not huge, right? If I can play Dragon Quest, but pair it with other streams that do well, like RimWorld, for example, then it doesn't matter that Dragon Quest doesn't do well. You see, because the RimWorld stream overperforms, so it makes it so that the slower supported Dragon Quest stream can continue. And I even explained earlier this week, if we can have staple streams that are doing well all the time, then I can choose to maybe have a game like Dragon Quest be in the rotation, not perform well, but still continue. The key here is I can't do it with a million games. It can't be, for example, I'm playing Dragon Quest and then Crizzle and then another indie game and then another indie game and all of them are horrible streams. I can't just keep having 4 or 5 streams a week that don't do well, right? I can do maybe one game like that. As long as everything else is going well, you got to balance it, right? That's the tightrope I'm kind of walking right now, and I'm trying to figure out this year, man, has this year been different than previous years, where I'm really experimenting and trying things, and I'm trying to be transparent with you about it so you understand where I am, where I'm coming from. I'm trying to do what's best for everyone. I want variety. I want us to find the hidden gems that we don't usually play, but at the same time, I want the business to still be doing well. I can't just sacrifice everything to try to find a few indie games, do you see? So let's see how it goes. But here's the thing. Last night, abso-freaking-lutely on that Street Fighter stream, I hammed it up. I was asking and asking and asking some more, and then when I was done asking, I asked again. And I made over $200 on the Street Fighter stream last night, which then adjusted and made up for the fact that the Crizzle stream didn't do good. And we were fine. And today, I slept easy. I woke up today refreshed saying, the experiment actually worked. Now we know Crizzle just didn't work as a playthrough. People aren't going to like it. And Street Fighter is still working well. We'll keep going with that, you know? But here's the question, quite frankly, right? Do we do this every single time now when I play a new game? Do we actually let the game speak for itself? Let people support if they like that game and the gameplay and playthrough I'm creating of it? And if it ends up being a game where I play it and it doesn't do well, that's basically speaking volumes that people don't like the game. Is that what we should do? Because is it fair, for example, again, with Crizzle, what if I had asked for support and made $200? Do I play it again? Because the game's still boring. The game didn't get any better because it was supported. The game was still boring, right? Like, take a look at a game like Quarantine Zone. The first stream was actually really good. The second stream was decent, and the third stream was boring as hell. Some games are going to be like that. So you naturally figure that out over time, right? Not every game is going to be a giant playthrough that's going to succeed. That's okay. Maybe it's just good for a few hours, and that's another thing that we need to understand and explore this coming year. So how do you judge it? Davhan says it's tough because with Dragon Quest 7, it just doesn't get great support on the first part, even asking for it. Half of it is just from one person. Then when do we drop it? I don't want to drop a great game so easily. You're right. And in the case of Dragon Quest 7, that one is one of my favorite genres of games, okay? Some genres I'm gonna want to try to bite the bullet and play anyway, just because they mean a lot to me. Even if they're not going to get giant support. Nothing here just said, my humble opinion as a fan, the slight increase in support when you ask for it versus the slight decrease in support when you don't ask, but then people can't clip you asking for money is worth taking that hit. Now, here's the thing, though, nothing here. Last time when I played Shoe Fighter, I hammed it up. I made a ton of money, so that made up for the Crizzle stream, but then guess who clipped far? Oh, Phil went extra hard on the Street Fighter stream because his Crizzle stream failed. And so look, he's Grulowski, he's going crazy, he's out of control, right? Ha ha ha. So I honestly don't know what to do. It's tough, right? This is new ground. Like, for example, all right now I don't know what I'm gonna play on Friday. At all, because it was going to be Crizzle. I'll tell you right now, I'm not playing Crizzle again on Fridays. It's boring, okay? If the marathon demo releases after the state of play on Thursday, then I'll probably try the marathon demo. But if the marathon demo doesn't drop as rumored, then we have an open spot. Let's say I decide to try a couple indie games, right? Now, do I say, hey, support indies? Or do I just let them ride and see what happens? What if both games suck? Now I have a dead stream. It's not my fault. I tried something new, right? You know? I don't know. What do you do? Now, Friday night, we're doing Street Fighter 6 Friday Night Fights, and Street Fighter 6 usually does well. So do I ham it up on Friday night to make up? You see? And the truth is, the other thing I got to be careful of is doing too many experiments because I'd still need to have a successful business. You understand that, right? Like, I can't say, oh, well, I'm just going to half the streams this week. I'm going to do experiments and they all fail. Well, then I've just shot myself in the foot. I know with the formula that works because I've used it. I should stick with what's working while also trying to balance it with things that may not work. Does that make sense? Like I need to do a proper balance. So it's a tough situation I'm in right now because this is all new ground for me. A 17-year creator facing new ground because things are so different. But the thing is, this is all a positive. I want everyone to understand this as strong as I can make it a point. This is all a positive change. This is stuff improving. This is not stagnation. This is not boredom. This is us trying new stuff because things have been going so well. And I'm grateful for that because I'd much rather be in a situation where we're excited for the future. We're trying new games. We're trying new methods when we play the new games to see what works and what doesn't. As opposed to us saying, well, we're just stuck in a rut and we got to do the same thing every day because it's the only thing that would possibly ever work, even though it doesn't always work and I'm miserable. It's the opposite. I'm actually excited and invigorated to come to stream every day and hang out with you guys and have a good time. It's a great feeling that we're doing all this new stuff together. We're breaking new ground, as they say, right? Yes, I would love to support you publicly, but yeah, it's just too hostile. Thank you for having an anonymous way to tip you and support. Exactly. If ever any of you, all right, like the content and you want to support it and you want no chance of basically being attacked by people on the internet, tipping is absolutely the way to go. When you tip me, the only thing I will ever see is your email address. That's it. I don't know your name. I don't know any information about where you're even watching me. You could be on Cake. You could be on YouTube. I don't know where you're even watching from. And when you tip me, all you got to do is say the name you want to be referenced by, or you can say, just leave me anonymous and put the message in the body of the tip. That's it. You're protected. Now, this is exactly why the trolls hate this, and that's why they constantly lie about PayPal and say shit like, oh, when you tip Phil, you dox yourself. No, you don't. But they want you to think that, so you won't tip that way, and you'll try to support another way so they can get your information. That's literally why they lie about it all the fucking time. They're upset that people can actually support. This is also why they claim every tip I receive is fake. Every single tip Phil's ever gotten was a fake. He doesn't make that money. He's a liar. He's a poor. He's broke. No, the tips have legit always been real, and they can't handle that fact. They're upset that people like the content, support it positively, and can't be attacked for it if they tip, so then they lie about it and they try to cope. To be honest, Buckwell, here's the truth. If I get great amounts of support before we even start with the game, I don't ask for support during the game. Have you noticed that? Maybe not, but for example, that whole month after the Asmongold interview, I wasn't asking for support. Very rarely. Maybe once a stream, I would mention how you could support, and I would just be shouting out the support. I wouldn't even mention it, because I didn't have to. I keep explaining this to people as matter-of-factly as I can, and I swear people just want to believe the toxic shit on the internet rather than using their brains. I don't want to ask for support. Ever. Ever. I don't even want to think about it. I just want to sit here and hang out with you guys and enjoy games and have fun on streams, period. That's all I ever want to do. But as I've just explained, when I ask for support, I get more. When I don't ask for support, I get less. It's a tried and true fact of my streams. Maybe that's not the case for others, because others are very different from me, but I am Darkside Phil. I am Phil Burnell. I am a one only entity on this planet. There is no one else out there that is like me. My situation is completely unique. And from my perspective and my experience, when I ask, I get. When I don't ask, I don't. I don't care when people criticize me for it, because what matters is that this is successful so I can keep doing what I love, I can support my family, and I can put out meaningful and positive content for my viewers. That's what matters, not public opinion saying, "Robble, he asks for money too much." I don't give two fucks about what those people say, because they're dollarless losers who sit on the internet criticizing others when they should be doing for themselves. You say, "Who gives a fuck about them?" I want my streams to be successful. I want to be able to do what I love for the longest time I can. All right, so I gotta find that balance. Now, if I'm getting tons of support, I never have to ask for it. And that's what was happening. Then it dwindled. So guess what? I had to ask for support again. Right? Now, I've tried to limit it, I tried to balance it, and I tried to find things going on that will work and won't work. I don't want to annoy the audience, and you're right. If I'm asking for support 37 times a stream, that's going to piss people off. At the same time, if I don't ask for support, I get none or little, and then everyone's doesn't matter anyway because they still talk shit about me. So it's about finding the happy medium, which you're suggesting do it at the beginning, do it at the end. Maybe that could work. Maybe not. Not everyone is there at the very beginning or very end of the stream. Right now, I have 262 viewers on my stream. I only had less than 100 when I started the podcast. More than half my viewers weren't here to hear me do the call to action at the beginning of the stream, which, by the way, I didn't do a call to action at the beginning of the stream. I haven't even called to action once the stream yet, and I've been broadcasting for 1 hour and 29 minutes. So, yeah, maybe there is a way to conduct it. I don't know what. I don't want to sit here with a clock timing the stream and be like, oh, let me hit the clock on certain times when I have to do my call to action today. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to figure this out. We are. Together, we will figure it out, and things are going to be great this year. They are already. They're just going to get better. It's just a matter of finding the right way to do all of this stuff so that it's not too much of a heavy ask, but it's not asking at all, because that also will shoot me in the foot. Like, what is the balance? And we will find it, okay? Here's an honest question, okay? Honest question. If I'm such a bad guy because I constantly ask for contributions, right? But there's people who do it worse than me, more than me. Why am I the one that's always in everyone's mouth? Why am I the one that I end up on the Reddit live stream fails and I end up getting talked about on some big streamer stream? Why is it always Darkside Phil? Why isn't it Lal Cow Lai? Why isn't it another person who does it more or worse than me, right? It's a good question. It's interesting, isn't it?